from Zero Hedge again. Space Force General, U.S. not as advanced as China or Russia with hypersonic missiles. Top-ranking general within the recently established U.S. Space Force has voiced dire public concern that America's hypersonic missile capabilities are significantly behind those of Russia and China. Coming days after Russia successfully test-fired another Zircon hypersonic missile from a warship in the Arctic, and months after China caught U.S. intelligence off guard by its own impressive hypersonic test. Well, we're studying masturbation techniques in our Navy. And then again, much of the technology that China is floating is all ours anyway. So once again, I see Russia as a little bit more of an independent entity than China is. I think that there's definitely a chance that China, in many ways, is starting to become a little bit more callous themselves and bite the hands that have fed them so well for so long. There's probably that going to go on. I mean, when you watch Game of Thrones, no alliance is really one of love. It's of political expediency and convenience and all that stuff. So we created the China that is, in existence today. But at some point, there's got to be a double cross or a triple cross, a quadruple cross, whatever it is. And as everybody hyperventilates about hypersonic missiles, I just want to put this out there. This is a 2-minute clip from Mr. Michael Anton. He wrote a couple of really great articles in the summer of 2020 when the lead up to the election, when everybody started realizing the kind of coordination that was going on with the John Podesta groups, the Transition Integrity Project groups, the Red Wave theories that are being floated as a little bit of a prerequisite for what was coming in November by outlets like Axios. So Michael Anton was pretty good with that. Now remember, this is the first time I'm actually seeing him in the flesh. But here is what he wanted to go off. He makes a little bit of a statement about hypersonic missiles and the dawn of hypersonic missiles, I should say, and how we are actually vulnerable and have been vulnerable on much more basic levels. Take a listen to this.
Last time a United States aircraft carrier was sunk, it was the Battle of Midway, the USS Yorktown, June of 1942. We haven't lost an aircraft. Actually, we did lose an aircraft carrier last year, not a fleet carrier, a smaller carrier. Do you know why? Because it burned in San Diego Harbor, and the Navy couldn't figure out how to put out the fire, and they had to scrap the ship, the USS Bonham Richard. Look it up. The Navy crashed 4 ships in 2017. Read the official reports from the Department of the Navy and the congressional investigations on those crashes. They are marvels of esoteric writing to try to dodge the cause of what happened while somehow revealing it between the lines if you can sit there with an electron microscope and read it carefully and keep yourself awake, right? If you're Taiwan and you're counting on the United States to defend you, what conclusion did you draw from Afghanistan this summer? Did you get the conclusion that here is a great power that knows what it's doing, that keeps its promises, and that can execute the things that it wants to do? Right? So getting back to the carrier point, I'll leave it at that. Forget that hypersonic missile. If you ask somebody who watches the Navy and follows the Navy, all this based on open source material, I hasten to add, they will say, plausibly, if not certainly, the Chinese have had an ability to sink a fleet carrier for the last decade at least, right? A carrier goes out in a so-called battle group, has a number of ships ringing it and some attack submarines. All of those things are meant to protect the central asset, which is the aircraft carrier, which these days costs anywhere from $12 to $14 billion. And with the wing, that is the planes and the people, the extra people on board, there's about 6,500 people on that aircraft carrier. So $14 billion and 6,500 people. Now, 2,800 people or so died on 9/11, and remember what a psychological shock and wound to the nation that was. Imagine 6,500 people in a military defeat over something that was foreseeable in advance, and ask yourself how the nation would take it. I'm not trying to draw any conclusions about this, but I just want to take you right back to what Peter Thiel said. Right now, there seems to be a massive amount of groupthink. We're only allowed to think about this one way. Nobody is allowed to bring up any of the counterfactuals. When policy is made on that basis, horrible blunders and catastrophes result.
So just throwing that out there.